Thunder cracks. A flash of lightning slices across the Lagos night sky, revealing a young girl on her knees in the mud. Rain lashes against her face. She clutches a broken crutch and gasps for breath. Please, Mama and Kem, please open the door. Her voice trembles, swallowed by the roar of the storm. The porch light flicks on. A heavy wooden door creaks open, and a woman steps out, tall, fierce-eyed, wrapped in a silk wrapper that glistens under the rain. I said, get out. Mrs. Nkem screams, her voice sharper than the thunder. She hurls a small bag into the puddle at Adeora's feet. Clothes scatter in the mud. You think I'll waste food on a cripple? God forbid. Mama Nkem, Shut up. Your mother's dead, and you'll follow her soon if you stay here. Hello, guys. Welcome to my African Tales. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe, and share it with your friends, and most important thing, turn your notification bell so you can get informed when I dropped another amazing story. Drop your thoughts and reactions in the comments. What would you do if your spouse tried to kill you and you survive? Will you take a revenge or disappear forever? The door slams. A bolt slides into place. Silence, except for the pounding rain. Adora stares at the closed door, shaking. Through the curtain, she sees a shadow, her father. He stands still, watching, doing nothing. Papa, her voice breaks. Please. The curtain twitches, then falls back. No one comes out. Her knees give way. She crashes into the mud. The broken crutch splinters under her hand. She presses her palms together and whispers, Mama, if you can see me from heaven, please don't let me die here. The camera, in your viewer's mind, pans wide. The street empty, neon reflections in the water. A dog barks in the distance. The storm rages on. Then, faintly, the low hum of an engine. Headlights bloom through the rain. A sleek black Range Rover slows beside her. The tinted window slides down. A deep, calm voice, My God, what happened to you, young lady? Adora looks up, eyes wide, lips trembling. She can't speak. The man steps out, umbrella in hand, an elderly figure in spotless abaya, silver beard catching the light. He bends down. Can you stand? She shakes her head weakly. He turns to his driver. Carry her. Now, carefully. The driver hesitates. Sir, I said carefully. The driver lifts Adora gently and lays her in the back seat. The door closes. Rain fades. Inside, warmth and silence. Adora whispers, Thank you, sir. He answers softly, Rest, my child. You're safe now. Her eyes flutter shut as the car pulls away. Through the fog window, the house she called home disappears into darkness. Hours later, a beam of sunlight hits her face. Adora opens her eyes to find herself in a clean white hospital room. A drip hums beside her bed. Her leg is bandaged. A nurse smiles. You're awake. You're safe now, my dear. Adora blinks. Where am I? Crystal Haven Hospital. The man who brought you paid everything. You're lucky, Before she can respond, the door opens. The same man walks in, this time in a simple white kaftan. Calm, dignified. Good morning, my child, he says. I'm Chief Okanji. Adora lowers her gaze respectfully. Good morning, sir. Thank you for saving me. Chief Okanji sits beside her. Tell me what happened. Tears well in her eyes. My stepmother, she said I'm cursed. She broke my crutch and threw me out. Chief's jaw tightens. And your father? Her voice breaks. He watched. A heavy silence. He nods slowly, eyes full of restrained anger. No child deserves that, he murmurs. He hands her a handkerchief. From today, you will never sleep outside again. She looks at him, confused. Sir, you don't even know me. He smiles faintly. I don't need to. I can see your heart. At the door, a young woman peeks in. His granddaughter, Kamsi. Her voice is warm. Grandpa, is she the girl you brought in last night? Yes, Chief replies. Her name is Adora. She'll stay with us for now. Kamsi beams. Welcome, Adora. Adora freezes. Stay with us? The words sound too beautiful to be real. That evening, Chief Okanji stands by the hospital window, speaking quietly to his lawyer. Find out everything about her family, he orders. Names, address, everything. I want to know who could abandon a child like that. The lawyer nods. Yes, Chief. Chief looks out at the skyline. Rain clouds clearing over Lagos. He sighs. She reminds me of my daughter, the one I lost. Night falls. Adora lies in the softest bed she's ever known. She can still smell the rain in her hair, still hear her stepmother's voice echoing. But for the first time in years, she isn't afraid. Maybe this is what her mother meant when she said, angels sometimes wear human faces. She doesn't know that miles away, Mrs. Nkem has just seen the evening news, and in the background of Chief Okanji's charity event stands Adora, smiling shyly beside him. The spoon drops from Mrs. Nkem's hand. Her eyes widen. That cripple with the billionaire? Thunder rolls again, not in the sky, but in her chest, because she realizes the girl she threw away has just found a destiny she can never control. The next morning, Adora woke to the sound of soft footsteps and birdsong outside the window. For a moment, she forgot where she was, until she opened her eyes and saw the golden curtains, the scent of jasmine in the air, and a folded breakfast tray beside her bed. She blinked in disbelief. This can't be my life. Back at home, breakfast meant leftovers, if there was any food at all. But here on the tray were slices of toast, fresh fruit, and warm tea with milk. A soft knock at the door. Come in, Adora said shyly. Kamsi stepped in, smiling. She carried a neat bundle of clothes, clean, bright, and beautifully ironed. Good morning, sunshine, Kamsi said warmly. How are you feeling? Adora hesitated. I don't know how to thank you. You and your grandfather. Don't, Kamsi interrupted kindly. He couldn't sleep all night. He kept asking if you were okay. Adaora's heart softened. He did. Yes, that man has a soft spot for anyone who's been through pain. Kamsi helped her sit up. The warmth in the young woman's tone made Adora feel something she hadn't in a long time. Safety. Eat first, Kamsi said. Then Grandpa wants to speak with you. Downstairs, the Okanji mansion glowed with quiet elegance. Marble floors, soft lighting, framed photographs of charity events, and family memories. Chief Okanji sat in a high-backed chair in the living room, reading a file when Adora entered slowly, leaning on a new pair of crutches. She stopped a few steps away. Good morning, sir. He looked up and smiled. Ah, Adora, please sit. She obeyed, her heart beating fast. I asked my assistant to find out about you, Chief said gently. Your father, Obina, your stepmother, Nkem. Adora swallowed hard. Chief continued. You were right. Your father remarried 5 years ago. Since then, your school reports show a sharp drop in attendance. You were once top of your class. Adaora's eyes lowered. That was before the accident. Chief nodded. Your mother's death, the accident, life has been cruel to you. He leaned forward. But tell me something, my dear. If life gave you another chance, what would you want? Adora blinked, unsure how to answer. I just want to walk properly again and go back to school. Chief smiled faintly. Good, because that's exactly what I want for you too. Her eyes widened. Sir, he nodded. I have a foundation for children with disabilities. But most of them don't have someone like you, brave enough to keep fighting. I want you to be part of it. She gasped softly. Part of it? Yes. You'll stay here, get the best medical treatment, finish school, and one day, help others who have walked your road. Adora felt her throat tighten. She covered her mouth to keep from sobbing. Sir, why me? Chief looked away, his voice low. Because once someone saved me too. That afternoon, as she sat by the window watching the gardeners trim the flowers, Kamsi joined her with mischievous grin. Grandpa likes you, you know, she said teasingly. Adora smiled shyly. He's been kind to me. Not just kind. He sees something in you. And honestly, I see it too. Adora looked at her hands. I don't know what he sees. I'm just broken. Kamsi shook her head. No, Adora, you're not broken. You're just unfinished. Those words sank deep into Adaora's soul. That night, Chief sat alone in his study, staring at an old photograph. A woman and a young girl standing by a riverbank. His daughter and granddaughter, both gone years ago in a car accident. He whispered softly, "Maybe this is how God wants me to heal, by helping her." But as he closed the file on his desk, something caught his eye. A legal notice addressed to Obinna Okafor, Adaora's father. Chief frowned. It was a land ownership document. The name looked familiar. A small piece of property he'd once invested in years ago. He reached for his phone and called his lawyer. That property in Aja, who owns it now? The voice on the other end hesitated. It was sold recently, sir, to one Mrs. Nkem Obinna. Chief's brows furrowed. The same woman who threw that girl out? Yes, sir. Chief's voice turned cold. Keep watching them. I don't trust that family. Meanwhile, across town, Mrs. Nkem sat on her couch, replaying the TV segment of Chief Okanji standing beside Adora at his charity event. Her eyes were sharp with greed and jealousy. That old man, he's rich, she muttered. And that useless girl, she's living in his house. Her husband, Obinna, walked in nervously. Nkem, leave the girl alone. At least she's safe now. Nkem turned on him sharply. Safe? Don't be stupid. Do you know what this means? If that man adopts her, she'll inherit money that should have been ours. Nkem. She raised her hand. Don't you Nkem me. You were too weak to stop her, but I'm not. Her lips curved into a bitter smile. If she thinks she can rise above us, she's making the biggest mistake of her life. Back in Chief Okanji's mansion, Adora was asleep when a storm rolled in again. Lightning flashed, and for a brief moment, her reflection in the mirror showed a strength she never knew she had. The next day, she would begin physical therapy. She would start learning computers with Kamsi. She would start dreaming again. But she didn't know that her stepmother had already started planning something dark, a visit that would turn her new peace into a new war. Cliffhanger. Late that night, a security guard at the Okanji mansion answered a knock at the gate. A woman in a colorful head tie and fake smile stood under the rain. I'm here to see my daughter, she said sweetly. The guard squinted. Your daughter? Yes, she replied, her tone changing slightly. Adora. The guard hesitated, unsure whether to open the gate. Lightning flashed across her face, and for a second, her sweet smile twisted into something else. Something dangerous. The moment Kojo's eyes met Amelie's across the restaurant, time stopped. The sound of cutlery faded. The laughter died. Even the air seemed to hold its breath. Kojo's new wife, Nana, froze mid-smile. The champagne glass in Kojo's hand trembled, the golden liquid inside rippling like fear itself. For a second, he looked like a man who'd just seen a ghost, because in many ways he had. Amelie took one step forward. Her heels echoed against the marble floor, sharp and slow. Every eye in the restaurant followed her. She didn't rush. She didn't shout. She walked with the calmness of someone who had already buried her pain 1,000 times. Kojo Mensa, she said, her voice slicing through the silence like glass. Did you really think I wouldn't find you? Kojo swallowed hard, his atoms apple-bobbing visibly. He opened his mouth, but no words came out. Nana turned sharply toward him. Kojo, what is this? Who is she? Amelie smiled faintly, not out of joy, but out of disbelief. Who am I? I'm the woman your husband left behind, the woman he married before you. Gasps echoed across the restaurant. Kojo shot up from his seat. Amelie, don't, please. But Amelie cut him off. Don't what? Don't tell her the truth? Don't remind you of the woman you promised forever, before you disappeared into thin air? The tension thickened. Nana looked between them, confusion turning into panic. Kojo, is this true? He reached for her hand, but she snatched it away. It's not what you think, he stammered. She's lying. Lying. Amelie laughed bitterly. Should I show them the wedding pictures? Or maybe the hospital records when you left me with nothing but a child you never came to see? The word child hung in the air like a storm. A murmur spread through the diners. Some reached for their phones. Others just stared, eyes wide. Nana's face turned pale. A child? Amelie's eyes glistened. Yes, a boy. Your husband's son. Kojo's face crumbled. Amelie, stop this, please. She looked at him steadily. You stopped it the day you walked away. The restaurant manager tried to step forward, whispering something about causing a scene, but Amelie didn't move. Her voice, calm but trembling, carried the weight of years of betrayal. I didn't come here to fight, Kojo. I came here to return what you left behind. From her handbag, she pulled out a small brown envelope, the same one Kojo had once hidden his campaign funds in years ago. She placed it on the table in front of him. Nana frowned. What's that? Amelie looked right into Kojo's eyes. Proof. Kojo's face went pale. He reached for the envelope, but Amelie stepped back. You built your campaign on lies, Kojo. Lies about who you are. Lies about what you did. For a moment, no one spoke. Then Amelie turned away, her heels clicking again on the marble floor. But before she reached the exit, a small voice broke through the chaos. Soft, trembling, familiar. Mommy. Every head turned. Standing near the doorway, clutching a tiny backpack, was a little boy, about 7 years old, deep brown skin, big innocent eyes that mirrored Kojo's perfectly. The entire restaurant gasped. Kojo's heart seemed to stop beating. His mouth opened, but no sound came out. Amelie froze where she stood. The boy looked at her, confused and scared. Mommy, I followed the driver. You said we were going to see Daddy. Nana's hand flew to her mouth. Dear God! Amelie's chest rose and fell quickly. She hadn't wanted this moment. Not like this. Not in front of everyone. Kojo staggered forward, his voice breaking. Amelie, that's my son. Amelie turned to face him slowly. Her lips trembled, but she stood tall. You tell me, Kojo, do you recognize your own blood? Kojo took a shaky step toward the boy, tears gathering in his eyes. My God, he looks just like me. Nana backed away, shaking her head. You told me you never had children. You said, I didn't know. Kojo shouted, desperate, his voice echoing off the walls. Amelie never told me. Amelie's eyes flared. You disappeared, Kojo. You changed your number, your address. You left me in the hospital. The restaurant went silent again. Kojo reached for her arm, but Amelie stepped back, pulling her son protectively behind her. Don't you dare touch me, she whispered. The boy clutched her hand tighter, scared by the tension. Nana's father stood up, furious. Kojo Mensa, you will explain this right now. You are in the middle of your campaign, and this is a disgrace. Kojo turned helplessly between the two women, the past he ran from and the future he tried to build. Amelie shook her head, tears finally spilling down her cheeks. You built your life on sand, Kojo, and now it's sinking. She took her son's hand and turned to leave, but Kojo's voice stopped her. Amelie, please. I didn't know. I swear. She didn't turn around. You knew enough to run. The boy glanced back once, eyes full of confusion and pain, before Amelie led him out of the restaurant. The doors closed behind them, leaving Kojo standing in a silence so heavy it almost crushed him. Nana wiped her tears angrily. You lied to me. You lied to everyone. I didn't, Kojo began, but she cut him off. You said you wanted a family, she spat, but you already had one. Her parents rose from the table and walked out without another word. Kojo sank back into his chair, face buried in his hands. The envelope sat in front of him like a curse. His entire career, his image, his marriage, his name, all hanging by a thread. He finally tore open the envelope. Inside were photographs, grainy, old, but undeniable. Amelie and him, smiling, holding hands. A wedding certificate, a birth record, and a note. He unfolded it with trembling hands. Written in Amelie's handwriting were just 5 words. Truth always finds its way. Kojo sat there, eyes fixed on the words, when a loud click echoed from nearby. Someone had taken a picture. He looked up to see a reporter near the door, camera still pointed at him. Kojo's blood ran cold. The scandal had just gone public, and as the flash faded, his phone began to vibrate uncontrollably. Call after call, message after message, from his campaign team, from the press, from everyone. He picked it up, his voice cracking. "Hello? Kojo," a panicked voice said. "You need to get out of there. The photo is everywhere. It's all over social media." He turned to the window and saw people gathering outside the restaurant, shouting, filming. In seconds, the perfect life he built began to collapse. Kojo clenched the paper in his hand, eyes burning with regret. "Emily, what have you done?" But deep down, he knew it wasn't what she'd done. It was what he'd started. And for the first time, Kojo Mensah realized he might lose not just his campaign, but his son. The next morning, the city of Accra was already buzzing with one name on every radio station, every social media page, and every TV screen. Kojo Mensah. His campaign posters, once symbols of pride, now looked like jokes plastered across the city walls. His smiling face, hand raised, slogan beneath, was now being mocked online with captions like, "From Parliament to Parenthood, the hidden wife scandal." Inside his campaign office, chaos reigned. Phones rang nonstop. Assistants ran back and forth. And Kojo sat in silence. His usually confident posture was gone. His crisp blue suit was wrinkled, his eyes hollow from a night without sleep. Every call from his PR team, every plea from his lawyer, all sounded the same. We need damage control. But there was no controlling this damage. He could still hear Amelie's voice echoing from last night. You built your life on sand, and now it's sinking. Meanwhile, across town, Amelie sat by her son's bedside in their small one-room apartment. The boy, Kweku, lay asleep, clutching his little stuffed lion. Her hands trembled slightly as she brushed his hair back. The events of the previous night replayed over and over in her mind. The stares, the whispers, Kojo's face when he saw their child. Her phone buzzed again. She ignored it, but when it buzzed a fourth time, she sighed and picked up. "Hello? Is this Mrs. Emily Mensah?" a soft, polite voice asked. She froze. "Who's asking?" "This is Mrs. Bako from the Daily Herald. We'd like an exclusive interview. The public needs to hear your side of the story." Emily almost laughed. "My side of the story? The public doesn't care about the truth. They just want a scandal." "We'll pay you," the woman added quietly. "A good amount." Amelie's lips tightened. "I'm not for sale." She hung up. Her body shook slightly, part anger, part exhaustion. But before she could rest, there was a knock on the door. A slow, firm knock. She hesitated, then opened it. Standing there was Kojo. For a moment, neither spoke. Kojo looked out of place, his clean-pressed clothes, his fancy car parked outside, and his eyes that looked like they hadn't known sleep in years. Behind him, a few reporters hovered at a distance, but his security had pushed them back. Amelie crossed her arms. "You shouldn't be here." "I needed to see him," Kojo said quietly. "Please. You lost that right the day you left us." "I didn't know you were pregnant," he said, his voice cracking. "Amelie, I swear if I had known." She cut him off sharply. "You would have stayed?" "Don't lie, Kojo. You would have run faster." He sighed and looked down. "I deserve that." The silence hung heavy. Then, from the small bed, Kweku stirred. He opened his sleepy eyes and saw Kojo. "Mommy," he said softly, "that's the man from the restaurant." Amelie turned to him gently. "Yes, baby, that's your father." Kojo's heart clenched at the word. He knelt down, tears filling his eyes. "Hey, son." Kweku looked at him curiously, then at his mother. "You said Daddy went far away." Amelie swallowed hard. "He did, sweetheart. But sometimes people get lost and find their way back." Kojo reached into his pocket and pulled out a small toy car, the kind he used to collect as a young man. "This was mine when I was your age," he said, voice trembling. "I kept it all these years." Kweku took it slowly, unsure, but his little smile broke the tension for just a moment. Amelie turned away, tears threatening to spill. "You can't just show up and fix everything, Kojo." "I'm not trying to fix everything," he said softly. "I just want to make things right. For him." "You can't make things right for him if you don't make things right with yourself." Kojo stood up. "Let me help you." "Let me help him? I have money." "Don't you dare finish that sentence," she snapped. You think you can buy back years of absence? You think your wealth erases my pain. Kojo's voice dropped. No, but maybe it can give him what I couldn't. Before Emily could answer, there was another knock on the door, louder, heavier this time. Kojo frowned. Who's that? Emily's face hardened. The world you built. It's finally come knocking. She opened the door, and there stood a tall man in a black suit, holding a sleek black envelope. Mr. Mensah, he said coldly, you've been summoned. Kojo blinked. Summoned? For what? The man handed him the envelope. For misrepresentation and fraud concerning your campaign declarations. The Electoral Ethics Commission wants you at headquarters, immediately. Emily's eyes widened. Fraud. Kojo's voice shook. This has nothing to do with you, Emily. Please believe me. But she was already looking at him differently now, as if the man standing before her wasn't just a liar, but a stranger she once loved. Kweku tugged her sleeve. Mommy, what's happening? She forced a smile. Nothing, baby. Just grown-up talk. Kojo's phone started to ring again. He looked down, dozens of missed calls from his campaign team, his wife, even his party leader. Everything was crumbling. The man in the suit spoke again. Sir, you need to come with us. Kojo nodded slowly. I'll come. He turned to Emily. Please, don't let him grow up hating me. She said nothing, only watched as he walked out of the small apartment, surrounded by cameras, microphones, and the chaos of the life he'd chosen. By evening, the entire country was watching the footage of Kojo Mensah being escorted into the commission office. Commentators shouted over each other. Supporters called it a setup. Opponents called it justice. Emily sat by the window, staring at the flickering screen. Her son slept beside her, clutching the toy car Kojo had given him. She whispered under her breath, maybe this is what truth looks like, ugly, loud, and finally free. Then her phone buzzed again. A text message. She almost ignored it, until she saw the sender. Unknown number. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. I can tell you what really happened to your husband back then. Her blood ran cold. She looked out the window. Rain began to fall, tapping against the glass. What really happened? She whispered. The morning was gray, heavy with mist, the kind that seemed to swallow every sound. Emily stood outside a quiet cafe in East Legan, clutching her shawl tight around her shoulders. Her eyes scanned the parking lot nervously. The message from the unknown number still echoed in her mind. Meet me tomorrow, 8 a.m. I can tell you what really happened to your husband back then. She wasn't sure what to expect, danger, truth, or another heartbreak. A sleek black car pulled up. The door opened slowly, and from it stepped a man in a charcoal suit, tall, confident, and familiar in a way that sent chills down her spine. He removed his sunglasses. Emily froze. You? It was Mr. Kruma, Kojo's longtime campaign manager, the same man who had told her, years ago, that Kojo was gone for good. He smiled faintly, though his eyes held no warmth. Good morning, Mrs. Mensah. She took a cautious step back. You said Kojo was dead. He sighed, shaking his head. No, Emily. I said he wasn't coming back. That was the truth, just not the whole of it. Her chest tightened. What are you talking about? He motioned for her to sit at the outdoor table. It's time you knew what really happened. They sat opposite each other. The cafe was quiet, only the distant sound of traffic breaking the silence. Mr. Kruma leaned forward. Kojo didn't abandon you because he stopped loving you. He was forced to disappear. Emily frowned. Forced? By who? By the people funding his campaign back then. Kruma said, lowering his voice. A group of very powerful businessmen, and one of them was your late father-in-law. Emily's mouth fell open. His father? But he always told me his father hated politics. He did, Kruma interrupted. He hated the idea of his son marrying a woman beneath their class. You, Emily. He thought you would ruin their image. So he gave Kojo an ultimatum, leave you or lose everything. Emily's breath hitched. That can't be true. Kojo would have told me. Kruma shook his head. He couldn't. The old man threatened to destroy both of you. Kojo came to me, desperate, asking for help to protect you. I arranged a way for him to vanish quietly, to fake his death in a car accident while he started over. Amelie's hands trembled. You made me think he was gone forever. Kruma's eyes softened. It wasn't meant to last this long. But then Kojo got tied up in politics. Deeper and deeper. He couldn't come back without risking everything. And by the time his father died, too much had changed. Tears burned Amelie's eyes. So all these years, I've been raising our son alone because of a deal between powerful men? He nodded. Yes. And now, those same men are trying to destroy him again. She stared at him, confusion and anger mixing. Why tell me all this now? Because I'm done protecting them, Kruma said, his jaw tight. Kojo made mistakes, yes. But not everything was his fault. The people who financed his campaign, they've been laundering money through his projects. Now that the scandal's out, they're blaming him. Amelie's heart raced. So he's innocent? In some things, Kruma said, but unless someone speaks up, he'll go down for crimes he didn't commit. Amelie's hands clenched. What do you want to do? He slid an envelope across the table. Inside are documents proving the money trail. Bank transfers, fake accounts, everything. But they'll never listen to me. I'm part of the system. They'll listen to you. She stared at the envelope, her reflection trembling on its glossy surface. And if I refuse? He met her eyes. Then Kojo will go to prison, and your son will grow up believing his father was a criminal. Amelie's chest rose and fell rapidly. The weight of years pressed on her shoulders, betrayal, loneliness, now a choice that could change everything. She picked up the envelope. By evening, the commission building was packed with reporters. Flashes lit the night like lightning. Microphones jutted out from every direction. Kojo Mensa under investigation for embezzlement. Hidden wife speaks out. Exclusive, the fall of a rising star. Amelie stepped out of a taxi with Kweku holding her hand. Her heart pounded, but her face was calm, the calm of a woman who had faced worse. She walked past the reporters, ignoring their questions, straight through the glass doors and into the hearing chamber. Kojo was already there, tired, disheveled, surrounded by lawyers and party officials. When his eyes met hers, something flickered. Hope, fear, disbelief. Amelie raised her head and faced the panel. Mrs. Mensa, one of the officials said, "Why have you come?" She set the envelope on the table. To tell the truth. Kojo's breath caught. Amelie, she ignored him and continued. You are accusing my husband of crimes he didn't commit. But the real criminals are the men funding him, the same ones who forced him to abandon his family years ago. The room erupted in murmurs. Cameras clicked. One of the commissioners frowned. Do you have proof? Amelie opened the envelope, pulling out stacks of documents. Yes, these showed direct transfers from offshore accounts, all linked to your donors. The chairman leaned forward, scanning the first page. His expression changed instantly. Kojo looked at her, stunned, grateful, broken. You saved me again. She turned to him, her eyes wet. No, I saved the truth. Hours later, after the hearing adjourned and the officials began their internal investigation, Kojo stepped outside into the night air. Reporters shouted his name, but he ignored them. His eyes searched the crowd until he saw her, Amelie, standing quietly under a street lamp, holding Kweku's hand. He walked toward them slowly. Thank you, he said softly. Amelie's eyes glistened. Don't thank me, Kojo. Just make it worth it. Kweku looked up at him shyly. Daddy? Kojo knelt down. Yes, son. Are you still in trouble? Kojo smiled weakly. Not anymore. Your mom saved me. The boy's little hand reached out and touched his father's face. Then we can go home now? Kojo looked at Amelie. For the first time in years, there was no anger, only exhaustion and something fragile. Hope. Maybe, she said quietly, but not to the same home. Not yet. He nodded slowly, understanding. Then I'll earn it back, one day at a time. Amelie smiled faintly. We'll see. They stood there, 3 silhouettes under the flickering streetlight, while cameras flashed in the distance, a family once broken, now piecing itself together in front of the whole world. Then From the corner of the street, a black SUV pulled up. Mr. Kruma stepped out, but this time, not with his usual calmness. His face was tense, eyes darting. "Amelie," he called, "you need to leave. Now." She frowned. "What's wrong?" He glanced around. "Those men, the ones we exposed, they're not done. They've put a target on both of you." Kojo stepped forward. "What are you talking about?" Kruma's voice dropped. "There's a bounty on your heads." Amelie froze. "You said they'd back off." "I thought they would," he said, "but they've lost millions. They won't forgive that." Before Kojo could reply, a loud bang echoed from down the street, the sound of gunfire. Screams erupted. People scattered. Kojo grabbed Amelie and Kweku, ducking behind a car. Kruma pulled out his phone, shouting into it for help. Then, in the chaos, Kojo turned to Amelie, his eyes fierce, his voice low. "This time, I'm not running." Amelie's tears mixed with rain. "Kojo, please." But he looked at her and their son. "You two run. I'll hold them off." And as the lights of police sirens flashed in the distance and the storm broke overhead, Kojo Mensa, the man who once ran from truth, finally stood to face it.